What's going on, everybody? Based on your screen right now, you can see I made a presentation on unreleased items in Rocket League Sideswipe. In today's video, we're going to go over items we know that are coming into the game and items I think are coming into the game. So without further ado, let's get started. The first thing that we know are the cars that are coming, right? The Mantis, the Sentio, the Breakout Type S, the Nemesis, which I believe is a Rocket Pass car. It was actually released for alpha version, but then got removed for preseason. We have the Endo, GT, we got a Breakout, Venom, Fennec, Twinzer, and the Takumi. Again, if you have not watched part number 1 to this video, I have gameplay footage of all of these items in game, so go check that out. Next, we have the wheels. These are all the wheels that I have seen in game. Generators, Stellas, Finnies, Yamains, Septums, Astros, Ultralexes, Reverbs, Dracos, and Cephalos, I believe they're called. A little bit of background. I've been trading since 2017, so when we get into things that I think are coming into the game, it's just from my perspective as a long-time player of Rocket League and the deep understanding of how the trading market was back in 2017 and what OG items were in the game at the time. So yeah. All right. Next up, we have probably the coolest part of this whole video. I have seen Cristianos, Veloci's, and Chakrams. These are 3 of my favorite wheels in the normal Rocket League, so I think this would be a great addition to Sideswipe as well. We have the helicopter wheels, Spiralis, Sunset, Pizza, Photons, and Blade Waves also seen in game. Going up next, we have 2 decals. One that I saw in game when I made the first part to this video, and recently I've seen bots using 20XX. So if you're curious as to what the first black market decal is going to be, it is pretty much guaranteed that 20XX is going to be that decal. Up next, we have boosts. So as seen in the last video, we have a rainbow boost. I think this is called Synthwave or something. There was a trans rights boost, which is pretty cool. We have Pixel Fire, Polygonal, Taco, Cloudburst, Pickle Boost, a Power Shot, which I'm a fan of, Ectoplasm, and then my personal favorite is Ion Boost. We have seen Sacred, and then Crackle was also seen in the last video. Going up next is Goal Explosions. This is probably the most jarring of the bunch. We have seen Supernova, Dueling Dragons, Poof, Toon, Solar Flare. We saw a Reaper, which is in the thumbnail of this video, actual footage of in-game. We have a Force Razor and a Meta Blast. Okay, up next, we have the toppers. Okay, we've seen the Mohawk, the Shuriken, the Cone Topper, the Mannequin, Pizza Topper, Avocado. We got the Heart Glasses, Bow, Santa, which is actually really cool, which means seasonal events are coming. So take note of that. Pixelated Shades. We have a Drink Helmet, a Crown. We have the Helicopter Hat and a Plunger. Okay. In terms of toppers, there's nothing really that cool. So that's where the stuff that I think is coming to the game where would be really implemented nicely. As we've seen with Sideswipe, they've already added toppers we didn't already have in Rocket League. Like they gave us painted Gigi the Clowns, which we didn't have before. And they also gave us like stuff like painted Shizas, which also weren't in normal Rocket League. So all of this stuff is for interpretation, but these are just my opinions of what is to come. I have not seen any of these in game. I just think these would make sense, and let's get into it. Okay, starting out with decals. I think Heatwave is the most Rocket League item out there. If you think of Rocket League items, I think of Heatwave. That is the OG black market decal that everyone wanted. It is one of my personal favorites, and I think it makes sense for them to add it. The only drawback is the FPS of Rocket League Sideswipe, and I don't know if the moving particles would hold it back at all. Coming up next, we have Mainframe. Mainframe is a fan favorite. I don't think I need to explain why I think they'll add it, especially if they add microtransactions. I would pretty much bet on Mainframe appearing in this game. Going up with Biomass in Hexed. These two are just those bottom end OG black market decals that no one really loves, but no one really hates. So I think in terms of like atomizer, like how they had that for the mystery item, these could definitely be used as such. I could definitely see Hexed being in place of an atomizer in terms of getting painted versions and how minimal Hexed is on a car. And then lastly is Slipstream. Slipstream has been around for a minute now. I believe it came out in Champion Series crates. Pretty solid black market. So these are my top 5 black market decals that I think could possibly come. Let's talk about Octane decals. Lone Wolf is pretty much guaranteed. Lone Wolf is one of the most OG, most used Octane decals. I put that right up with Shiza. So if Shiza's in the game already, I think the Lone Wolf will be there too. We saw earlier that Santa Hat was in the game, which leads me to believe that there's going to be Halloween events, aka they'll have Halloween items as well, which leads me to believing that there's going to be Octane Thanatos, which is one of the best Octane decals in my opinion. Now, this is a controversial one. I don't know if there's going to be RLCS items added. I can't really see them doing an RLCS Sideswipe type drop thing where you link your Twitch and everything. But they could definitely just take the RLCS items and just throw them into Sideswipe as something that's a regular item. So you'll see some of my picks are, in fact, RLCS items. I just think in terms of loved decals, the RLCS base one is one of the favorites. In terms of universal decals, I think if we are going to get Kana, if we already have the MG88, if we already have Snakeskin, I think the Vector for all cars is soon to come. And I also think with Sideswipe seeing the most popular cars being used, that being the Octane, Dominus, and I don't know what the third one is. You could say it's any of them. The Scarab, if you wanted. I think the Dominus Suji would be a very good pick for a Dom decal to come out. Okay, now we're going to talk about cars. I think all of these cars are completely understandable as to why I think they're coming into the game. The ZSR is OG as hell. Same with the Masamune. Same with the Gizmo. Same with the X-Devil, Paladin. The Animus, I believe, is Overdrive crate. Roadhog is one of the base legacy cars, I believe, in normal Rocket League. And then the one that I'm least sure about is probably the Jaeger. Even though it's the coolest of the bunch, this is the one I'm least confident on. If we see the Sentio in the game, that leads me to believe the Animus will be in the game. If we're seeing stuff like, let's scroll up for a second. If we're seeing stuff like the Twinzer or the Endo, it leads me to believe that cars like the Paladin or the ZSR will be added as well. I think these are all self-explanatory. You could also throw in some of the Rocket Pass cars if you wanted, like the Maverick and stuff like that. But these are my top picks as to ones that I think are going to be added. All right, moving on. Here's where it gets interesting. I think these wheels would be amazing. I don't know that they're going to be added. Let me clarify which ones I think are pretty much guaranteed to come to the game. So yeah, as I stated before, Apex is not too sure. RLCS item, it's kind of iffy. Zombas are going to be in the game. If you think Rocket League, you think Zombas, these are the first sought-after wheel in the trading scene. It's probably guaranteed. It's just a matter of when they add them. We saw that Dracos are already in the game files, so I don't expect them not to add Zombas. That goes along with K2s and Volts. These three wheels right here were the most OG and sought-after wheels back in the day. I remember these used to be worth like $200, $300 back in their prime. On a more lame note, I think fire plugs are just one of those wheels that they'll have in the game as the uncommon or rare or something. Nothing too much to be said about them. They've been around. I think they'll keep them around. They'll just take place instead of like they had the SLKs in the shop or like the Neptunes or something like that. Two wheels that I do really hope they add are Dicey's and Reapers. I think Reapers are starting to become one of the most used wheels in normal Rocket League, especially the white variation. They look clean. They have a nice, sleek tread to them, and I think everyone would be happy with them in the game. And then, of course, if they have Dicey, specifically black Dicey's, especially since we don't have nice black wheels yet. There's only a few wheels that can actually come painted in Sideswipe. So this would be a great addition as well. Okay, next up we have Tunicas. I was kind of in a predicament. I was deciding between Tunicas, Vortexes, and some of the other uncommon painted wheels that you could get from old Rocket League days. But I end up going with Tunicas because the base Tunica look has that gold finish, which looks really crisp, and I think would be a good addition to a car preset. Going into another exotic, I think the Infiniums just make sense. I believe they're more recent than these other three exotics I've pointed out, but I believe, unless they're too detailed for Sideswipe to handle, I think they'll be added just because people love Infiniums. The white ones are insane. Yeah, there's not too much to be said. I'm pretty sure they're a fan favorite, and I would love to have them in the game. And then this is one that I personally just want. I don't think the emeralds will be added. I just personally love the look of white emeralds and black emeralds. So if they were to be added, I would be very, very happy. Okay, let's talk about boosts. Pretty much guarantee that ink is going to be in the game. We've already seen, I believe, like flowers and like a couple other weird non-crate very rare boosts. To go along with that, I think lightning will be added eventually. If we look at the boosts that are coming out, we see that there is that non-crate very rare possibility. So that gives me hope that not only the ink will be coming, but like treasure, I forget the other non-crate very rare boosts. I think like hearts and a couple other ones. But yeah, nevertheless, I think if we look at the most favored boost in the game, there's no way they don't add a painted standard. Painted standard just makes sense. It's one of the most loved boosts, most easy boost to put into a game because they already have the unpainted one. So I think that's to come. Just like they added the white Octane. Like we didn't know painted Octanes were coming into the shop. Just like we don't know if painted standards are coming. But I would anticipate a black or a white standard in the shop pretty soon. These three I'm kind of iffy on. Enchanter, Magic Missile, and Comet. I was just trying to fill up the slide. I'm not too sure about these. Same with Helios. I would love it, but I don't know if they're going to add it because, again, it is an RLCS item. If I had to bet, my top three boosts are going to be the ink, the sparkles, and then the plasma and or lightning. These are pretty much fan favorites, and I don't see Rocket League not putting them in the game. Neothermal, hit or miss. I think people either really love Neothermal or really hate it. It kind of goes along with how they have dark matter in the game. Going on to the next slide, we have toppers. I think the game is lacking a lot of toppers. We don't really have too much to go off of. We have halos, and that's about it. They gave us painted Gigi the Clowns, but other than that, there's really not much diversity in terms of cool-looking toppers or even the ones that are being used. I would say in-game, you only see halos, and that is it. If we saw the addition of any of these top row, I could see them being used by a large portion of the player base. We saw the Santa topper earlier, so to go along with that, I think the ghost or the pumpkin during the Halloween season could definitely be added. Krabby is one of the most recognizable toppers if anyone has it on their car. I don't actually know where it comes from, but yeah, I think it's a cute looking topper, and yeah, kind of cool. Going into angel wings, I think if they're having a halo, that means they're going for more detailed toppers, which goes into the angel wings, the phoenix wings, and the jolt bangle. I haven't seen too many Rocket Pass items that have made it into Sideswipe, but if they add Rocket Pass 1 items or any OG Rocket Pass items, these are for sure my top 2 picks. They are probably the cleanest toppers in normal Rocket League, and I would love to have them in Sideswipe. The surfboard just makes sense. I think surfboards were used a lot in normal Rocket League. If we go back and look, the toppers that we know are coming, like the pixelated shades or like the shuriken, the surfboard is right there with it. We just haven't seen it in game with the bots using them. The sad strawberry, the reason I put this on there is because I saw a bot using the, I think it's called Mrs. Avocado. So I think the little rare toppers could all be said to be put in. Going on to little animals. This applies to little bunnies, the owls, I believe there's a dog, a cow, and so on. I think they could all be added. I think since we haven't seen too many cool toppers, that's an easy way for them to add something like that. We don't have any confirmation though. So there's nothing to lead me to believe that they're going to add the little animals. I just think it would be a great addition personally. Okay, starting off with the beach ball goal explosion. Just because we got butterflies, which is an exotic goal explosion, it leads me to believe that this is also going to be added. So it would not surprise me if this is added as a mystery item for that exotic slot for the next season. It's not very used in normal Rocket League, which is the only reason I don't see them putting it in. But it would be a nice addition. So yeah. Next up, let's talk about Popcorn, Polypop, and Electroshock. These are 3 pretty standard black market goal explosions. Nothing really makes them stand out. And I don't know that they prioritize either of these 3, especially since they're not really known for being painted. And as we've seen with the atomizers, people want them painted. And that's why I think it's more likely that we see painted fireworks or painted singularity coming soon. So if I had to guess, fireworks or singularity would be my top 2 to get picked. And then Big Splash is just that RLCS item that I think would be dope to have in the game. Okay, last final slide. These are items that aren't in any of these categories, and I think would be dope if they decide to add more banners or a trail or a paint finish or antennas. So we already have a salty banner. That goes hand in hand with the calculated banner. I see this coming out for the next Rocket Pass. You can get the salty banner from Pro presents and silver and gold presents. So I think you can get the calculated one next season. Just thinking of banners that people use, I think this Dominus one, I forget the name of it, will definitely be added as well. Coming up next, I don't think they have any reason to add trails because you don't go quote-unquote supersonic. But if they were to incorporate trails into boosts, which maybe they do, I'm not saying they will or they won't, but Lightspeed, Hot Rocks, and Laser Wave are by far my favorite 3 trails. So if they were to make them into boosts or add trails for whatever reason, I think these would be the most likely of the bunch. That also goes along with anodized. With customizing your car, you can just change how glossy it looks. So you really don't have any need for anodized, but it would still make sense if there were paint finishes that anodized would be the first on the list. Last but not least, we have antennas. If you've been in the Rocket League trading scene, you know what this item is. The rubber ducky is the most valuable yet worthless item ever. It is a symbol of having it just because you want it and not caring how much it costs. I remember having like 100 back in the day, and people used to use them to scam and put them in thumbnails. And if there were to be antennas into Rocket League Sideswipe, the rubber ducky would be pretty much a shoo-in. Next up is one of my favorite. It's the Mage Glass from Rocket Pass 1. Do I think it's going to be added? Probably not. Would it be cool? Yes. Macaroon. Next up, we're going to talk about the Macaroon. I think the Macaroon makes sense. It's heavily used in the trading community. The pink one was discontinued by Rocket League, so it was very sought after by traders. I don't know that it's going to be on their highest priority. And last but not least, I think the balloon dog just makes sense if the rubber ducky gets added. It's just one they can throw in there with a basic antenna. One thing I did not put on this slide is content creator items. Like in normal Rocket League, content creators have their own antennas, like the Musty one or the John Sandman, etc. So I could definitely see Sideswipe doing something like that. I don't think they will directly use Sideswipe content creators because we are really small, to be honest. And they have the behemoth like Musty or Sunless that they could just copy and paste into Sideswipe. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe for more, and leave a comment down below what item you think is coming to Rocket League Sideswipe that I didn't put on this list. If you disagree with me, let me know. If you agree with anything I said, also let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.